Good. So welcome to episode 8. Welcome to week 8 rather. It's been a long ride since week 1, and we've been here and we are still here and we are still going. And it's just been awesome. So as we do, we would like people to share with us right now what you learned last session. I know that last session was Dr. Titi Dokbe's session, and she talked about harvesting, post-harvest handling, and value addition. So if you were in that class or if you watched the recording, because we shared the recording, please just let us know what stood out for you. What did you learn? What did she? What did you take home? You can just put it in the chat or put in the comments. Put in the chat or put in the comments. And I'll read your perspective. And I really hope that the network is very fair to us today. I've been logged out a couple of times myself. So I'm waiting. Should I call names? Grace, Jemai, Gladys, Jemima. So you were in class. So what stood out for you from the last session? Please, Madonna, still go to the community. It is very important that they join.
Sorry. Good evening, ma.
Yes,
Hello.
please go ahead.
Sorry, I wasn't on the last meeting. I was bereaved then. I informed my coordinator for about 2 years.
Okay. Thank you for that. Jemai, Grace, were you there? Any takers? Anyone? Okay, I'm seeing some in the chat. Yes, I was in class. What did you learn? So what stood out for me was how to process excess goods to add value and avoid wastage. Yeah, that is very nice. I also remember she talked about the different ways you can preserve food and avoid food wastage. That was interesting. So without further ado, let's just go right into today's class. Our facilitator is here already. Thank you for sharing what you learned, Jumai. I think Madonna is even finding it difficult to join due to the network issue, but I'm very sure that it's gonna go well. So thank you for joining, Madonna. We could just go to your community and tell all of them that they should join us. Tag all of them, call all of them if need be. So let's go right into reading today. So today's facilitator is someone you know. She's no stranger to you. She took the first session, which was the onboarding session, where she shed more light on climate smart agriculture. And her name is Dr. Ife Amao, and she will be taking this class in the next few minutes. And she'll be teaching market access and building a profitable climate smart farm. So Dr. Ifeoluwapoluwaseun Amao is a passionate, accomplished agricultural economist with over 15 years of experience in socioeconomic research, project planning and execution, monitoring and evaluation, and stakeholder capacity building in Nigeria's agricultural and horticultural sectors. As Assistant Director of Research and Head of the Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Department at the National Horticultural Research Institute, NIOT. She has led strategic initiatives to optimize project outcomes, improve institutional accountability, and drive innovation through data-driven insights and effective program implementation. Her expertise includes agricultural economics and policy, project monitoring and evaluation, horticultural value chain development, research planning and execution, capacity building and stakeholder engagement, and budgeting and institutional strategy. As you can see, you see that she's loaded, and I'm sure you'd have an amazing, amazing time. So let's give it up for Dr. Ife Amao. She's also been a very solid member of the She Grows team, She Grows Green team, and we really appreciate her resilience and her contribution to the team. And she's been behind the inviting many of the doctors you've seen. Yeah, many of even all the almost literally all the speakers we've had for the agriculture climate smart agriculture track. It's been from our network. So thank you so much, Dr. Ife. We really appreciate that. Thank you for agreeing to be a part of the team, pulling your weight, and also sharing your knowledge with today's participants. So let's give it up for Dr. Ife in the chat. Say welcome, Dr. Ife, and thank you. Let me see it in the chat if you want this dance to go on. Say welcome, Dr. Ife, and thank you so much, ma. Let's see. In the meantime, I'm not seeing anyone talking in the chat. The class will not hold though, because I'm sure I've not been speaking to myself. So let's see in the chat. Tell our speaker welcome. Welcome, ma. Welcome, ma. Let's see in the chat. Welcome, Dr. Ife. Welcome, Dr. Ife. Let's see it in the chat. Let me share a slide and then. So Madonna, please keep telling them they should join. Whoever is not joining will be in for a ride, and they will not like it. So Dr. Ife, over to you, ma. You have the floor. Thank you so much. I hope everyone can see my screen.
So, good evening, everyone. Hello.
Hello, ma. We can hear you.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Hi. Good evening, ma.
Hi.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm pleased to be here once again. It's nice being part of this initiative and this program. And we've been at it together since the beginning. And I think you are learning as I am also learning. And we didn't see many people to talk about last week. Last week we learned so much. Anyway, we move ahead to today's lecture. It's just going to be like a combination from the beginning, from farm to table, from the farmer. They say there's another to say from farm to fork. So it's going to be what you've learned before, and then some little additions to that. Can I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today, my name once again is Ife Amao. I'm here to talk about market access and building a profitable climate smart farm. So what do we need to build a profitable climate smart farm? We've been talking about climate smart agriculture for the past over a month since we started in July. And what's the essence of all that we have been talking about all this while? All to make money. But before we can make money, we can't just start making money in climate smart agriculture just like that. So today we're going to explain what climate smart agriculture is in brief. There are climate risks all around us. We identify those climate risks. And then we go into identifying what the customer needs, because you have to plan before you produce. Yeah, you need to plan for what your customer needs before you produce them. Then you need to calculate your costs. You don't just produce for the sake of production, but you produce with something. And to produce with something, you need to know what you want to produce and what you need to produce with. And then to get you can't eat all your produce alone. So you have to get it across people that need it to eat it. So we're going to talk about market channels, how you can determine where you sell your produce to and stuff like that. And then we're going to talk about the farm budget, how you keep your records, and then how you scale your climate smart farm. So the climate challenge. I said earlier that climate change is real. Now everybody knows climate change is real. We can't run away from it again because it's all staring at us in the face. It's with us. And I think I can say it's here to stay. But there are different risks that affect us in our human lives. As it affects us in the human lives, it affects the crops we produce on our farms too. Some of them are erratic rainfall. Nowadays, rainfalls, we cannot determine when the rain will start and when the rain will end. There's so much heat, flooding here and there, drought, and then different pests and diseases. I'm sure you learned about pests and diseases maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago when Dr. Abiola was talking about pests and diseases of vegetables and things like that. So many different pests and diseases around now. They just emerge and then we have to tackle them. And then last week we talked about post-harvest. Post-harvest issues, the heat around us now leads us to a lot of post-harvest losses because especially these are crops, they lose water easily and then they're prone to heat attack and they begin to spoil. And once your produce spoils, your income is reducing by the hour, so to speak. I want to say that this session will be very interactive. So get your pen and paper beside you and start activities right away. So our activity 1 will be our climate risk identification. That's our first activity. So I would like each and every one of you to take your pen and paper and write 2 or 3 biggest climate risks in your area that you've identified, that you are noticing where you are, wherever you are within Nigeria, outside Nigeria. Just put it down, 1 or 2 things. Climate risk that you can see. Is it drought? Is it flood? Is it heat? Is it what's the other? Erratic rainfall? Have you noticed pests and diseases on your farm? Just put 1 or 2 things down. 1 or 2 of those climate risks. And then what have you done or what can you do? What do you think we can do to reduce that risk that you've identified? So we'll do that in the next 2 minutes. And the first way to get it, you can just say what you have so that I can know you are following. Or better still, you can put it in the chat room if you can't speak it. Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, ma. I think some people
Yeah,
are
please.
already dropping.
Okay.
Yeah, so
It's here.
I think. Please, guys, put it in the chat. Edith,
In the
yes, we
chat,
know.
please.
So
So, Edith, we're waiting on you. I just want to say something.
do the activity and put it in the chat so we can also move on. I mean,
Okay, I need answer to the activity, please. Gladys, are you ready for us? Just one or two climate risk in your area, and then a solution I can use to tackle that risk as a farmer or a would-be farmer. What do you think?
Shatu, please go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good
One of the
evening.
climate risks I identify in the area I am currently is there's drought in the middle of rainfall, and then the second one is flood. After droughts, when the rain start coming, it comes over, and then it causes flooding.
Okay.
So for the second question, solutions that I can identify is having a reservoir. When this rain is too
Okay.
much, maybe I can get
Yeah.
a big drums or tanks to save the water, so that during those period of drought, maybe sometimes it can be 3 weeks, it can be 1 month, then the plants will be drying off, the place will be looking dry, then we can use the one in our reservoir, even if it's little the plant gets. And in the time of flood, the reservoir is also important because it will still help us save water so that our farmlands are not flooded. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, you are a practical farmer. Yeah, so just a typical example, nothing more than that. So how do we just mitigating that risk and still
There are also some
compete?
comments in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, someone says mainly in Malawi we identify the flood and the droughts.
Okay.
Then
Yes.
Edith says drought and unpredictable rainfall, reduce water shortages through rainwater harvesting and drought-resistant crops, heavy rains and
Yeah.
flooding, improve drainage, soil conservation and storage, rising temperatures, promote agroforestry, shade trees and climate-smart farming.
Yeah. Perfect. Oh, there are scholars and farmers in this group. I don't just know. This is super. Who was that? I think that was Edith. That is great. I guess you're already practicing, and those are really practical tips. Thank you very much for that. So we'll go ahead to what is climate smart agriculture. So climate smart agriculture is just dealing with those risks we've identified, increasing what we earn, our income from farming, dealing with the risk, and then protecting the environment as much as possible, as much as we can. So it's just living with this climate risk identified, and then like you provide the solutions, by using those solutions to adapt to the risk, to mitigate the risk, while earning income from our business. Let's move ahead. There are three pillars of climate smart agriculture. Like I said, one is productivity. So how do we increase our productivity and income? We'll carry out practices that increase our yield or income, like someone said earlier, better seed varieties. Like I said, in case of drought, you use drought-resistant varieties that will be able to withstand the environmental circumstances, such that the plants will be affected, and then you'll be able to get your yield, your desired output at the end of your farming season. Then timely planting is also another practice that we can use to increase our income and productivity. That's pillar one. And then pillar two, resilience. In terms of resilience, we're talking about practices that can help our farm to withstand climate shocks. Mulching, water harvesting. Someone talked about rainwater harvesting. Then when it's excess rain, you get the rainwater, store it, and then when there's no rain, use that to water your fields. Then diversifying. Crop diversification means planting more than one crop. Like you stagger the crop planting. You plant one, you don't plant them all together at the same time. You plant different crops at different times, so that when the weather is affecting one or trying to affect one, the other crop is still on the field, and then it can survive, and we go on like that. Another pillar is mitigation. As much as possible, we should control or protect the environment, I would say. protect the environment because this is where we are. The environment is for me, you, and generations around and generations still unborn. So we have to protect the environment to serve all of us with practices that would reduce carbon emissions and all this stuff. So an example of that is composting. Instead of burning, you reduce burning on the farm. Saying that instead of burning everything, just burning and burning, compost. The compost is nutrient rich and it take it back into the soil and it will also help plants you are growing. Now, I have a story, a case study rather. Because it's a female-led program, we are having a female lead. But we're going to talk about Amaka in this lecture. And hello. Hello? Are you hearing me? Hello?
Yes, Mar.
Okay. Yeah, so please, we're going to talk about Amaka in this lecture. It's just it's a fictional story, but just let us understand the process from me as a climate farmer, as a female farmer, trying to produce under this climate change scenario. So the case study, Amaka is a 21-year-old lady that lives in the peri-urban community. Every harvest season, she watches tomato prices crash because everyone sells at once. And she has seen neighbors lose produce to spoil it before it even reaches market. She also notices the rains have become less predictable in her area. Like we're talking about climate risk, she identified the climate risk in her area. And then she wants to start a small tomato business. Despite that, she knows she needs a plan, not just the land. We need the resources, yes, the money, the land. But aside that, we have to consider our environment. I'm going to talk about the climate, the risk around us. How would Amaka, she has identified that risk. How would she provide solution to that risk of the rains becoming less predictable in her area when there are no rains? Amaka needs to have a solution of what to do, get water to her crops. So we'll go ahead with Amaka's story and then we'll see where Amaka is going to land in her production and how Amaka will go about her production. Okay, let's go ahead. So the thing of it is to identify your market. Like Amaka said, she knows she needs to plan before she produces, not just go with the seeds to the land and start making the ridges and then start planting. Amaka needs to have a plan before she goes to the field, before she goes to the farm. Now, the golden rule is that we should not plant first and look for buyers later. The thing of it is find out who will buy, what they need, and at what price before we decide how much, what you grow, then how much you're going to grow. Even the crop of focus should be after you have identified the market, you have talked to because your would-be customers, you feel the pulse of the people around you, your locality to see what they intend to do, what they want you to give them, is what the customers need that the producer has to produce. If the producer is producing outside the needs of the customer, then I bet he will eat all the produce himself, probably. Can you please move on? So market identification means figuring out exactly who is likely to buy your produce. So it's not a matter of wasting time and money trying to sell to everyone. You can't even sell to everyone because of these three factors. Number one, there's what we call market segmentation. Segmentation is just there to tell you that you have to group your customers by their needs. You won't give me, the customer, what I don't want. If I don't eat okra and you produce okra, maybe you don't eat okra in your area and you produce tons of okra, then unfortunately, it's either you take it out of the community or you keep eating it until. So we have to segment our customers, move around, see what they need. There are different customers with different needs. So we have to identify what the customers around need. Then we have to target them. Which of these customers, this group of customers, do I want to focus first as a first-time farmer, or even as a farmer that you have been farming for over years, but in diversifying, in expanding your business, you still have to do this market identification and see other outlets, other areas that you can expand your horizon to. Another thing is positioning. Positioning entails deciding how your product will stand out. Your products have to stand out. You have to brand your product, even though it's farm produce. Maybe fresh vegetables, it doesn't matter. Once people know this woman gives us fresh tomatoes, fresh leafy vegetables, that's your brand name. Once you are coming, they say, Mama Fresh is coming. And then everybody knows you for what you sell. So we have to bring up ourselves like that, so that your produce, you're identified with your produce, and they know, yes, your produce has quality that's demanded, that they would like to have. So in achieving this market identification, you have to gather information. This information is gathered from the customers, potential buyers, observing. You go to the local market, see what obtains the local market, what they sell, how does the stuff look like. So that when you come back in your own personal plan, you now know what you want to do and before you go to the farm. Next, please. Now we go to how to know our customer. Can somebody that's already in farming, can you describe one of your buyers? For instance, maybe you'll be selling to a restaurant. Why are you selling to them? What made you move close to them and start selling to them? What are their desires, their needs, what they told you? And then you said, okay, I can meet your needs. I'll bring 50 kg of tomatoes to you. And then you signed the deal and you started. Can you please share with us how you went about to identify your customer? Anyone in the house? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I think we can hear
Yes,
you.
ma, continue.
Okay.
You should please do the
Yeah.
activity and then post in the chats.
I just want to just say something now. How did you identify your customer? For people that have been farming already, they have been in the business. You sell to open market, you sell to restaurants, you sell wherever, you sell to retailers. How did you identify them? Did you just enter your farm, produce, took it to the road, and then what happened?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Grace from Bauchi.
Yeah.
I've been planting a particular leaf here in the north. Uh, I came from Jos, and when I came, I noticed in Bauchi there's so much like this particular leaf. They call it Rama. I don't know the name in English.
Okay.
So I planted it in my garden, and then these retail sellers, those that sells in small quantity, usually come and buy from me. I noticed the supply was not enough, or the demand was higher than the supply in the environment where I live. I now decided, if I can have access to this supply, and then this thought came to me. Plant. I have a portion of land in the compound where I live, so I decided to. I'm coming. I decided to uh, plant it in the garden, and usually it's a very good harvest. Then this woman selling around the area usually come and then get it from my garden to sell today around. So I identified them based on their needs, and I noticed the particular tribes living in Bauchi like the leaves, and I decided to like go into garden and other plants or vegetables. Is a vegetable actually. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you so much. That is very practical. Yes. So that's just basically what we're talking about. You came from somewhere to another location and you discovered that the people there, it's a market research. You identified your market. And then you produced, you had your retailers um, were your customers, and then you started selling to them. And when your demand was more than supply, then you expanded. So that's just basically what we're to talk about. So thank you very much for that example. Please, let's go ahead. And then, sorry, please, before we go ahead, Madam, please, I'd like to find out from you, how did you go about the pricing? Well, you told us that you have customers, yes, identify them, yes. Then the pricing, how did you go about the pricing? Did you use the prices that you had the idea from Joss, or how did you go about the pricing in Bauchi?
Okay. Actually, in Jos, we don't so much care about that particular vegetable. So when I came here, I noticed that the attention is more on it, and then I look at how expensive it is, and it's not very hard to cultivate. So I now decided to, the price here, like the one I give them, my vegetable, that particular leaf, mine is usually looking better than the one they used to get from the market. So the pricing, I think, is just okay. In fact, there's high competition for the one for my own. There's
Okay.
a high competition from my side. I don't
Yeah.
know if
So did
you
you? Okay. So
are
you mean
giving what.
okay. So your pricing was based on the cost of production, if I get you
Yeah,
right.
yes,
Okay. So
ma'am.
because what you needed to produce it, you put everything because you didn't have a baseline of how much are they selling it just before coming.
No. I stayed,
Okay.
I think, more than a year here in Bauchi before I venture into it.
Started. Okay.
So,
Thank
yeah,
you
I
very
stayed
much.
more than a year. It wasn't immediately that I came and then
Okay.
started.
Okay. Thank you very
Mm.
much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. So please, we can go ahead, please. Yeah, so now let's compare what she said with Amaka's research. Amaka had her own market research. She spent a week visiting the local market and speaking to 3 restaurant owners. She learned the restaurants want smaller, consistent weekly quantities and are willing to pay a bit for reliably fresh tomatoes. Unlike the open market, I know open market, everybody comes, everybody buys, and nobody comes. If it is too, if your tomato is not fine, you go to the next person. So you better reduce your price and get it off the market on time. So prices vary in the open market. This became the opportunity that Amaka decided to pursue. So Amaka said she decided to sell to restaurants, and then any surplus take to the open market. So the restaurants are her own focus. Your own focus, Adam, was your retailers that come around to your house and then they buy from you. So we can move ahead, please. So how do we choose an enterprise? We said it all earlier. We need to fit our enterprise with the climate. Will the crop fit the climate risk that we have identified? Is it drought tolerance? Is it flood tolerance? Is it early maturing? Do we have customers for the product? Do we have the resources we need, the land, labor, inputs, water? And then if you compare that the enterprise you want to venture into, to other activities around you, is it profitable for you to grow leafy vegetables or fruit vegetables like tomato in your area? Which of the two is more profitable for you? So you have to think about that and plan for that before you just go to the field and say, I'm doing vegetable, I want to produce, I'll grow leafy vegetables regardless. No, you have to sit down first and say, which one will pay me more? If I go into leafy vegetable production, will I get more money? Will I get more income than producing tomatoes or okra or any other fruit vegetable? Or even going into any other, venturing into mushroom production or fishery or poultry or any other thing. We have to make our plans first before we decide on the enterprise we are choosing. So we can move ahead. There are some climate smart production practices that we need to consider. After choosing our enterprise, we have to consider resilience. I said earlier, what kind of seed is it? Will the seed I'm going to plant, will it be in a situation of drought? Will the seeds I'm planting be drought resistant? Will they be able to withstand the drought that will come whenever it will come? Do I need to use mulch to retain soil moisture? All these things I need to consider them before I start. Then diversification, we're talking about growing multiple crops. I said it earlier. If you grow a single crop and a flood occurs, all the crops are wiped away. Income, dust, resources put, thrown off, everything zero. But if you diversify, I plant different crops, leafy vegetables, fruit crops, I mean, to different things, yes. If one would even fail, you can have the other enterprise as a support so that all the income is not lost. Then how do we go about these climate issues? What do we do to enhance the soil? Then to make the environment cool enough for the plants. The plants also, like human beings, we don't want heat. Some plants too don't want heat. It depends on the growth level, the growth stage of the plants, the amount of heat they want and the amount of cold and all those things. They respire like human beings. They are living things. So whatever happens to us, we should also think of the plants the same way. For instance, we said prioritize shade netting for cooling so that the heat is not too much for them. And then compost farm waste to build fertility, help the soil, moisturize the soil, give the soil enough nutrients so that the soil will be feeling good. When your soil is feeling good, your plants will feel good, and then you have enough yield. Well, even you as a farmer, you feel good because more money to your pocket. Okay, you can move ahead. Then we also talk about post-harvest management. Post-harvest, nowadays there's so much heat that is a threat to spoilage. When the heat is so much, even if you harvest, like we were told last week, once you harvest, the plants, sorry, they start losing, they start dying, so to speak. And then they begin, wilting is very fast. If the heat is much, spoilage comes up. So we have to treat these plants such that we don't allow them to spoil rapidly. Then we salt and grade, like we were told last week. And then ensure that these plants are in the right condition. You can add value. It should also increase your income because you are adding value. You are bringing the products from a fresh state into a value-added state, which would make it differentiated and then more income for you as a farmer. So let's move ahead. Let's see what Amaka is also doing. Because rainfall in Amaka's area has become unpredictable, she decides to use mulching and a small drip irrigation setup, so she isn't fully dependent on rain. Amaka is trying to adapt to the climate risk she identified on her field. He also plans to sort and grade her tomatoes immediately after harvest, since our restaurant buyers expect consistent quality. The customer's desire or needs is first on our agenda, anytime, any day. Because in the first instance, who am I producing for? I'm not producing to eat in my house alone. That is just one of it. But the major thing I'm producing for increased income. So the people that will buy it from me, their desires, their expectation should be primary in my production activities. So that is why Amaka has to sort and grade her tomatoes immediately after harvest, because the buyers, they expect consistent quality. They wouldn't take large size tomatoes this time and take small sizes the next week. They wouldn't take big fresh tomatoes this time, and then next week they'll take the ones with holes and insect bites and all the stuff. So Amaka has to be consistent and give her customers the best quality she can afford. Let's move on. How do we understand our costs and prices? There are different costs that we have to take into consideration when we are trying to start up our farm. There's what we call startup cost. This startup cost, to begin your enterprise, you need land clearing, tools, irrigation setup. Then make your farm secure. The fencing, that's the preliminaries. You don't fence your farm every day, so it's a startup cost. Then fixed costs are those costs that don't change. Regardless of your size of production, fixed costs don't change. Land rent, basic tools. We don't pay land rent every month, even though we produce. Sorry, hello. Can you hear me now? Please, if you can hear me, please say hi. Hello?
Hi.
I'm sorry, someone says you can't hear me.
Hi.
Please, can you hear me all now? Thank you. Yeah, so
Yes, we
sorry.
can hear you, ma. I guess the network is bad in our side because the network's been crazy
Yes, ma.
this evening.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, please. Yeah, so I said we need to understand our costs and prices. Startup costs, they are one of course at the beginning of our enterprise. When you want to start an enterprise, land purchase, land clearing, buy your basic tools, set up your irrigation if you need one. You secure your land by fencing. Those ones are not recurring. You don't do that every day. You don't do that every time. It's just one time, and then that's all. Then fixed costs. Fixed costs are costs that don't change with how much you produce. Fixed costs are costs that you don't suddenly change them, such as land rent. Then depreciation on equipment. Equipment that you purchase, you have to use them for 2 years, 3 years, 2 months, 6 months, at least before you change it. So it's not something you buy every time you want to plant. The ones that rise and fall with production volume are the ones we call variable cost. Those ones you buy them as soon as you want to produce. Your seeds, you can't do without buying seeds at every production season cycle. Your fertilizer, your labor. The labor that will work on one plot of land, 1 hectare of land, will be different from number of labor that you maybe hire to work on 2 hectares of land, 2 acres of land. So those ones, as you're expanding, as you're increasing the size of your land, you're increasing your labor, you're increasing your seed, you're increasing fertilizer. But when your yield is ready, your output, you want to transport them to the market. The transportation, if you are carrying 50 kg of tomatoes, the amount that you use to carry that to the market will be different from carrying 1 ton of tomato, that is 1,000 kg. So it depends on the volume. Those are variable costs. Then labor, family labor, hired labor, you have to pay for hired labor. But if it's family labor, it's expected that we include the cost of labor, even if it's family labor, that my brothers, my sisters, my children help me on the farm. I don't pay them directly, but I have to include cost of paying them and remove it from my cost, such that if I do that, I'll be able to get my actual profit. But if I say it's because I'm using my children or my farm, well, my labor is free. My labor is not free, because the time they spend with me, they could have used it to do some other profitable businesses. So things that could profit them elsewhere. So if we don't include labor costs, especially family labor costs, we are not getting our actual profit. We are overestimating our profit. And even as entrepreneurs, we're supposed to pay ourselves from the farm. You're not supposed to use the profit from your farm to say, well, it's my money. I take out of it. I do this. I do that. After all, it's my business. No, you're supposed to pay yourself. You are one of the workers. Assume yourself as one of the workers. It's just that you are the managing director or the CEO or something, but you are still one of the workers on that farm. Take the farm separate from yourself, your personal your personal expenses. Pricing perishables and strategies. Vegetables are perishables, so their pricing is different. They get spoiled easily, so we have to take them to the market, get them to the market in the best stage, freshest, I would say freshest stage, the most fresh stage that it can be in, so that you can get value for your money. So the prices are determined by supply and demand, and then your costs, and then the season. Because vegetables, these crops are seasonal. When it is in season, everybody plants leafy vegetables, everybody plants tomatoes, prices will definitely fall because supply is more than demand. And then when it is off season, prices will go off, will shoot up because the demand is more than the supply. And that is why we say a good farmer will cash in on that demand supply seasonality, the seasonality fluctuation, and now say, okay, what would it cost me to produce even in the off season? I need irrigation and this and that. I prepare for the irrigation, put all it takes, and then in all my calculations, I ensure that I'll still get my profit. That's where it works. Because no matter what, if you produce when demand is high and supply is low, prices will rise. You get more value for your produce. And then if you do all you're supposed to do, you definitely get more profit. Another thing, we have different types of pricing strategies. It's a competitive pricing in which you set prices based on what other farmers do. Like I was saying the other time that somebody talked and she said Bauchi State, she didn't have prices to compare from. If she had prices to compare from, she would have gone to other farmers around and say, okay, how much are you selling this? Then she would know how to determine her own price. But if you don't have other farmers around, you can do cost plus pricing. You calculate your own production and transportation cost. Do that, you add your profit margin to it, determine your own price by that. You can also do value-based pricing. This entails charging more for differentiated quality. If you are selling organic products, you can't sell organic products are not sold at the same price as synthetic, conventional. Sorry. If you do conventional farming, you can sell a kg for 500. Organic producers will sell that same kg of that same produce, a kg of that same produce for 1,000 naira, for instance, because they have differentiated their quality. Then if somebody packaged, he wouldn't sell the same quantity of produce you sold that you didn't package as the same price as somebody that packaged, because he has to include this cost of packaging, and that will give an edge over another person that didn't package his produce. Then there's what we call dynamic pricing. This entails adjusting price based on the real-time market conditions. Dynamic pricing, happens majorly in the open market. When in the morning you go, the prices are maybe morning to afternoon, the prices are high. When it's turning to evening, especially for vegetables are already losing water and weight, and so the farmers should just say, whatever it takes, just give me my money, take the vegetables and go. So they face price swings so much. Then vegetables. Sorry, please, before we move on. Vegetables, because they're highly perishable. Vegetables, because vegetables are highly perishable, prices need to drop as the produce ages. So that's why I said earlier that the prices drops because the produce will get spoiled easily. So the farmer wants to take it off his hand and then get it to the consumers, at least to get some profit. Because if he just says, okay, I'll hold on to this my produce, I wouldn't sell it at this price. I want my produce I want to get high income, and then he wouldn't be willing to reduce the price. Then he'll probably take all his produce back to his house, or try to eat it himself, or share it with his neighbors and families and friends. Then, as regard post-harvest issues, significant losses can occur during sorting and transport. This must be factored into your cost. So in pricing of vegetables, you have to factor in post-harvest loss, because know how there will be losses post-harvest. Because if you harvest 100% from the field, you can't take 100% to the customers. Some will have to go down because of post-harvest loss. Then these vegetables have high water content, so they lose weight rapidly through moisture evaporation. That's what I said earlier. You have to get them to the market in the shortest possible time, in the best condition, so that you don't lose all the profits and the vegetables losing weight because they are perishable. So let's go ahead to the example. Costing a 500 kg tomato harvest. This is just a typical example. This farmer is targeting 30% margin. He wants to make a profit of 30%. So how do we go about this? The cost elements, what we need here for this farm, we need inputs, we need seeds, fertilizer, and insecticide and all the stuff to protect our crops while growing. We need labor, and then logistics. We assume that our total production cost for this activity is 45,000 naira. So how do we calculate the break-even point? If our total production cost is 45,000 naira, I hypothesized here inputs at 15,000, labor costs at 20,000, and logistics, transport to the market, I buy plastic crates and all the stuff. I spend 10,000. So totaling 45,000 naira. Then I said earlier, we can't take 100% to the market. So let's assume a 15% spoilage and weight loss rate. So 15% of 500 kg is 75 kg. I'm just assuming that 75 kg will be lost. So our sellable weight will be 500 minus 75, that is 425 kg. So we are hypothesizing that we are taking 425 kg, the market in good condition. Now, the true cost per kilogram. What it costs us to produce 425 kg is the 45,000 divided by 425. That is 105 naira 88 kobo per kilogram. Then if I'm adding a 30% profit margin, I'm saying 130% of 105 naira 88 kobo per kg. That will translate into 137 naira 64 kobo per kg. So I'm expecting a revenue of 58,499. How did I arrive at this? I'm saying 425 kg multiplied by 137 naira 64 kobo per kg. Please, are we following? Can I go ahead, please? Hello? Okay. So you mean I should go ahead? Thank you. So now our profit on this harvest, our gross margin, is 58,000 naira, 58,499 naira minus the 45,000, which is the production cost. The gross margin now is 13,499 naira. So let's move ahead. Our return on investment now will be 13,499 naira divided by 45,000 times 100. So that's approximately 30%. That is what we assume to be our margin. That's our target. So that we're working towards that. So we are good to go. Then our break-even price is the total cost divided by the sellable kilogram. That is the 105 naira 88 kobo. This break-even price means that if you sell below break-even price, you're not making a gain. That's a loss. But if you sell at break-even price and above, then you are good to go. You are making profit. Can I move ahead? Please, let's go ahead. So I would enjoy us to do a similar worked example. Choose the crop you want. Just choose your, here we said we are hypothesizing with a 500 kg tomato. Use your own quantity, choose your crop, put your cost elements, then your simulated amounts. Just put something for the amount and just run through this activity, and then you can paste it in the WhatsApp group. I just encourage us to do it. It's good for you to do it, to practice just for yourself. And then if you're already a farmer, you can see whether you're making profit or not. And if you are a would-be farmer, then you can know how to start and to see when you start producing, will you be making gain or otherwise. So let's please move ahead. So there are different market channels. For us to access the market, we have different channels. Once we know the cost and target price, the next decision is where and to whom we sell. So there are different channels to suit different producers, quantities, quality levels. Some people say medium-sized tomatoes is what we want. Some people say large. Some people say, I'm okay with small. So the quality, quantity differs by your customers. So it's either we have open markets. Open markets, they are flexible, no contract needed. You just go to the market. Sorry, please, I've talked about this. This will be an assignment that will drop on the WhatsApp group. Then we'll go ahead to market channels here. So open market is flexible. Nobody says, come and sign a contract with me to bring your tomatoes to this market. No, just pack your tomatoes from your farm, take them to the open market. Maybe they have a farm, the market head, just bring the person, I'm selling tomatoes. They say, okay, go and stay there. You stay there and sell your tomatoes. The price is determined by prices around. It's affected by price swings because it depends on you can't dictate your price in the open market. It's what obtains around that you have to follow. That's the channel. Another channel is retailers. You can sell to retailers. Retailers, they come steadily, like my sister said, they come to you, yes. And then they have the quantity they demand from you. They may demand quality, they may demand packaging, as the case may be. They may say, okay, please pack it in such a way for us, 6 or 500 grams each, 1 kg, 200 grams, and things like that. Then another group is the wholesalers or aggregators. They come, they pack everything together from farmer A, farmer B, farmer C. They just move everything like that. They just give you a price. At least they'll say, we are helping you, madam. Instead of you to transport all this your stuff to the market, you just come to your farm, pack everything. If you're ready, they give you a little money and then they go. Now, processors are another group. Processors, they buy the produce and won't sell fresh in time. So they buy the produce and then they go keep it and they process, they add value to it and sell it at a higher price. Another group is the hotel, restaurants, and institutions. Institutions here could be universities, it could be hospitals and health institutions, any institution at all. We just say those ones they have quality, steady price. They'll tell you 500 kg, give us 500 kg every Monday, we'll pay you 10,000. And then if you're ready to go with them, you sign the contract and you're good to go. Same with the supermarkets. Supermarkets are high value markets. They look at packaging. Like we have in supermarkets, you could have tomatoes in this there's a kind of packaging they use for tomatoes that they have holes in it, and then the pack of tomatoes, they look so fine in the supermarket under refrigeration, under the fridge, refrigerated conditions, and they look so fine. So with the price also looks so fine because there's strict quality packaging and documentation requirements. They have to trace it. There's traceability involved in that. They have to know the kind of seed you produce, what variety did you produce, how did you go about it, what fertilizer did you put, what insecticide did you use, and everything you have to tell them because they're higher value markets. Another channel is cooperatives or producer groups. On this She Goes Green group, we can have producer group come out of this. I would encourage us, people in the same locality, having similar kind of produce, you're producing now, or you would want to start producing. You can come together and say, okay, this group, She Grows Green female leafy vegetable producers, She Grows Green fruit vegetable producers, come together. You can share your bargaining power, you share your transport and storage costs, and then you get your income. But it requires coordination and trust. You have to trust your fellow cooperative group member or your producer group member, and then because you're coming together to share our assets and liabilities, so to speak, and then to make our farming activity better for ourselves. Another means is a digital marketing, whereby you reach your buyers online. Everybody now is online, so start posting yourself on WhatsApp and on all social media handles. I sell tomato, this is my location, and start getting your buyers from there. Last but not the least, I have here contract farming. You can be a contract farmer. So people just come to you and say, please, we want you to produce for us specified quantity. We're going to pay you this price, and then you sign the contract. You're good to go. But most times they determine the price and they set the quality. This is the quality they want, and this is the price they pick it up from you. If you're ready to go with them, then you go with them. If not, there'll be no contract signed. So to stand out in any of these channels, need packaging, no matter how simple. Packaging attracts buyers to your produce. Then you need a name, you need consistent quality, you need to brand. Like I said earlier, the product differentiation, so that your customers will know you for who you are. They know your produce they know you as your produce, or how do I put it? They tag you, they say, okay, somebody can say my own is always fresh. Madam, always fresh is coming. Madam, fresh tomato, something like that. But they know your produce is always fresh. They give you like a nickname. So you can stand out through value addition also. Dry, you process, you grade, so that your produce can get to the high value markets. You can sell to supermarkets, you can sell to hotel or restaurant. And then if you avoid depending on a single buyer, it's like putting one's egg into one basket. You can have at least one or two channels, so that if one fails, you go to the other. Thank you. So we can move ahead. Another activity, let's compare market channels. Anybody with other market channel? One or two people talk about the market channels. My sister talked about, she talked about the retailers at that time. Any other person with another idea about another market channel? And then why did you choose that market channel for your produce? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
can I go ahead?
Dr. Ife, you are audible.
Okay. I'm waiting on someone to talk about the market channel she is running currently. Please tell us about your market channel, the price, how do they pay you, what's the quality they are demanding. Just tell us something about your market channel you're currently using to sell your produce. Anybody in the house?
I guess you can just put in the chat, everyone,
Okay,
because the
so let's
network
go
has
ahead.
been dealing. Okay.
Oh, sorry. So we can go ahead. Now let's look at Amaka's market channel choice. She decides not to. You cannot put all our eggs in one basket. So Amaka here used a restaurant. She has
Can everyone hear our trainer? Is it only me?
hello.
We
Hello.
can't hear her.
I'm sorry, Jory.
Okay.
Oh,
Ma, we can't really hear you if you are speaking. Maybe
hello.
your network.
Hello.
We can hear you now.
Hello.
We can hear you. Can everyone hear you? Please, guys,
Hello.
respond. Can you hear us? Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now, ma.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm sorry, please. I had some interruptions on my call on my phone. Hello. So I was talking about Amaka's channel. So that's what we said earlier, that have a plan B. She had a restaurant. She had restaurants, 2 restaurants, and then open market as her plan B, as a backup channel for any extra pay. So let's go ahead to cash flow and budgeting. Yes, from when we start the farm, when we pay for inputs and labor, we have to pay for inputs, for labor, for fertilizer, and all the stuff. Start working on the farm, wait for the crops to grow, harvest before we start any income. So there's a gap. So that's why we need working capital savings. We need something to cover up in that gap for us when the crops are yet to be matured, and then when we have not yet sold them, we've not yet had income. So that's why we need farm budgeting. A one-season budget, these are expected income and cost by category. So you can see the profit before we commit money. So you can know that what I'm doing, will I even get any profit from it? If you just say, I just go and produce and I wouldn't make any plan, I just go straight, I have some money within years, I'm rich. Then you go to the field, you start without having any plan. And then by the time you are going to go to the market to sell, they are pricing this produce at ridiculous prices. Then we come back and say, wow, farming is not profitable. No, that's not true. It is because we failed to plan. That's why it seemed that the farming that we carried out, the production we made wasn't profitable. So we have to be abreast of the costs, all the pricing, everything that it takes. We should be conversant with them, and then they should be up to date. Not just saying prices I used last year is what I'll use this year. No. What are the current market prices? We can't make our farm budget with old prices. We have to consider real-time budget. Then our farm return, like I said it earlier, that opportunity cost. What would I get from farming tomato in my area? Would I get enough income, enough yield from tomato in my area than okra? Would leafy vegetables be better for me? Would even venturing into another aspect of agricultural production be better than going into vegetable production in my area, depending on the climate risk and situation around? Because if you need to compare our expected farm return to what the same money or time could earn elsewhere. What this money I have, if I'm putting it into leafy vegetables, would it give me the desired profit? What if I put it into tomato production? What if I put it into, what if I do cucumber? What if I do watermelon? You should consider all the options first and see the opportunity cost, and then go into the one that we feel, okay, yes, this suits me better, and then I'll move into it. Then I'll give us another assignment. You can do tomato and then do leafy vegetables and compare the expected profit. That the costing for tomato production, maybe 100 kg tomato, and then do another costing for 50 kg vegetables and 100 kg vegetables, and see what it will give you, so that you can just have an idea of, if I'm going into tomato production, this is the cost I need, this is what I'll get. If it's leafy vegetables, this is the cost I need, this is what I'll get. Because a side-by-side comparison will give us reason for choice of our enterprise. We can see the reason why we're choosing the enterprise we're choosing when we compare our cost to the output and the expected profits from the business. So I'll go ahead quickly to risk management and record keeping. Now, record keeping. is turning farming from guesswork into data-based decision making. By saying here that farming should not be guesswork. Well, I did something last year and I think it should be so. I think. No, we shouldn't be saying I think. It should be actual. We should be factual. We should be farmers that work with figures and then work with facts. Record keeping, like I said, it supports climate adaptation and market access. Why do I say that? It gives us evidence to manage our farm sustainably and profitably. Why does it matter? Why does record keeping matter for climate smart farming? If we keep track of what has been happening over time, we can know that, well, in September, there may be rain, because last year there was rain in the second week of September. So I can take my tomatoes to the nursery. So from past happenings that we have recorded, you can predict for the future. So you can know when to plant, when to water, when to harvest. We can monitor our input use. How much seed did I use to plant my field last year? How much fertilizer? So I can reduce wastage and cost. And now it's not easy to buy money. So I don't just say, I just buy fertilizer for the fun of buying fertilizer, regardless of how much I need. I just want to buy fertilizer, and then I go to the market, I buy fertilizer, I buy seeds, and I just buy things anyhow. If we had kept records of how we did our farming previous years, then we can go back to those records and say, okay, when I wanted to plant a plot of land with 100 by 100 meters square, 100 meters square portion of land, I made use of 10 grams of tomato seeds. I made use of 5 kilograms of fertilizer, and everything like that into details. If I want to do the same thing this year, all I need to do is go and update the prices, get to the market, and buy the stock. And it also measures yield and productivity. If we keep records, we can measure our yield and productivity. We can see the practices that work for us. Is it mulching? Is it composting? Is it the use of drought-tolerant seeds that work best? We can see that when we keep records. Even record keeping can help us track our soil health, the health of the soil. I used compost last year to farm the tomatoes. Tomatoes came out good yield. And then this new year, I can also say, let me just go through that route again, do all the processes I had last year, and I'll be sure to get the good yield, or even more than I had the previous year. So record keeping will help us to achieve this. Also, record keeping matters for market access. It helps us to show our product traceability. Like I said earlier, if you are selling to supermarkets, they would ask you every detail. They can ask you, where did you produce? When? How did you produce those crops? What kind of fertilizer did you use? What kind of this? What kind of that? Because when they are also going to sell to their customers, they want to put a label there and tell the farmer, this is organically produced something, something. They want to be able to trace that produce to the farm and say it is from Mrs. Amao's farm. Then it helps us to meet buyers' quality and safety requirements. When we keep record, we can meet the buyer's quality, because last year we put down all that the buyers required, our safety requirements, everything we put down. By the time we are going into the production again in another cycle, we can always fall back on what we had, and then we meet buyer's quality. Record keeping will help us to demonstrate compliance with standards. Like I said earlier, in high value markets, traceability is key. They want to know every detail about what you did to your farm. What kind of water did you use to even water those crops? Maybe that will be more applicable in developed countries, maybe not here, but then they are very particular about all those details, because they want to be sure that you're not giving the consumers bad produce to eat. Record keeping helps us to calculate real costs and profits, so you can price confidently and negotiate from evidence. You are negotiating from your past evidence that when I did this last year, this was the profit I made, and then this is how I can't go less than the pricing I'm giving you because I've tried it before and this has worked for me. So you're just on your toes, on your feet with the customers. And then if you give them evidence that you have this, you have done this, and then they are sure that your produce will meet up, and then they can agree with your price. We have different types of record we want to keep. Types of record to keep, there are so many. We can keep crop production records, which include crops planted. You can list the types of crop you planted, the dates you planted them, the varieties you planted, the farm size which you planted it, expected harvest dates, and the yields you are expecting from each of those crops. And even when you harvest, you now come back and put the actual yield you realized. There's weather and climate records, there's soil records, there's water use, there's pest, everything. Inputs, financial, labor, harvest, sales, even traceability, like I said. If you don't put the traceability records, you don't have anything to show to the customers, your supermarkets, for instance, the high value market, that indeed you have followed every requirement of the buyer. Now, in building customer relationships, to retain our existing customers and attract new ones, we need strong relationships. How do we keep the strong relationship? We have to be reliable and give quality. Quality first in anything. We have to deliver the right quantity and quality at the agreed time. We need to be reliable if we say, I'll give you 50 kg tomorrow, 23rd of August, then it should be so. Not that by 23rd of August, then they start calling you and say, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't meet up. Maybe I'll bring it on Monday. No, it doesn't show reliability and consistency. So we need to be reliable and then deliver good quality. Then we need to understand our customer needs. We need to know what they prefer, the kind of packaging, their standards, quantities, so that we don't give them what they don't like. Because if you give a customer what he doesn't like today, where maybe he says, okay, first time I'll take it from you. The next time you come back, the person will say, oh no, I told you the other time, it's not what I want, so please, I wouldn't appreciate patronizing you, and then you lose such customers. We have to get competitive fair pricing, value for the customer, but then profit for the farm. So the customer needs value and the farm needs profit. I need profit as a farmer. However, my customer needs value. They need the right quality, they need the right quantity, and the two go hand in hand. We have to respond quickly and respectfully to our customers, whether they have questions or complaints or requests. And there's a saying that it goes like this: it says, customer is always right. No matter what he says, he wants his value. As long as he's ready to pay you, give him his value and all he requires. Then we need to be truthful, and honest. We need to be open, transparent about our quality, our methods, our quantities, prices. We don't need to make shady deals, because if our customers don't trust us, then we cannot build good customer relationship. Then we need to be timely and be open to feedback, because feedback will help us to improve on our production and be able to meet the customers' needs the more. An example, let's see what Amaka did. Because Amaka delivers the same quality and quantity to her 2 restaurant buyers every week, they begin trusting her enough to ask about a larger order for an upcoming event. That's an opportunity that came directly from reliability. She didn't find a new customer, but because she was reliable, she was supplying as when due. They mentioned her to somebody else for a bigger event, and then she would increase her. She's scaling up her production because she was reliable in the little she started with. So let's go into farm business management and scaling. Farm business management is an art and science of organizing, planning, and controlling a farming operation designed to maximize profit, efficiency, and long-term sustainability. So it's just combining agriculture and economics together. How do you manage your farm? The knowledge of agri that we've been learning over the past weeks, how do we combine it with economic principles? And the main aim of the farmer is to make profit. So how do we combine agri with economics to make money? There are 6 pillars of farm business management. I'll quickly run through that. Financial management, strategic planning. We need to set goals. We need to choose our enterprise mix. We need to hire the labor that work for us. We need to daily manage our crops. Good. See the crops, how they are growing, and then identify buyers, analyze prices, and sell for the best possible revenue. Because that is the aim of the farmer, best possible revenue. Then we need to manage stress from weather, pests, and diseases. So we need to consider risk management. In managing our business as a young entrepreneur, we need to do certain things. We need to negotiate input and credit terms confidently. You just ask for better prices or payment terms, especially when buying in a group. Like I said earlier, it's good to come together and form cooperative or producer groups. When you come together as a group, you can bargain more effectively. So that's why we say use cooperative or group buying and selling where possible to increase your bargaining power. But that's what, like I said earlier, to join or build a cooperative group. You can start it, no matter how small. Those you can say it's small, but then from this our She Goes Green WhatsApp platform, everybody on a cultural track. If you have people of like minds, can come together and form a producer group. Though informal, it can grow to be something big, and then you get the value for your money, and then you'll be happy you're part of it. And we use digital tools and platforms to accept market pricing. Now everything is online. So you can just browse and see how much is this produce being sold in this location and this location. And then from there, you determine your own price, and you ensure that you are not producing at a loss. Now let's go into scaling our business, scaling this climate smart enterprise. In scaling this climate smart enterprise, just entails using modern technology in our vegetable production, which includes eco-friendly innovations that increase yield while reducing water and pesticide use and lowering emissions, such that we can use advanced growing systems, we can use smart water management. Somebody said earlier, rainwater harvesting. There is automated rainwater harvesting. Then we have solar powered irrigation pumps for big farms, and which are climate smart. You can use shade netting. In Nigeria, it's not too cold, but shade netting to prevent the crops from maybe extreme heat. Some people plant in greenhouses. We have greenhouses, things like that. We can use to scale our climate smart enterprise. Then we can also make use of eco-friendly protection methods, which are biological and pest control methods. Those methods that don't.
Hey, come on, right. I don't know where the sugar came from.
So to scale our climate smart enterprise, we need, number one, to apply for climate focused grants. We need to partner with banks or microfinance institutions. We need to get micro loans. Because if it's going to be a commercial enterprise, not a smallholder kind of now, you need to seek for funds. Look for funds, because you need some specialized equipment and stuff. Then we need to adopt digital platforms. We need to standardize production methods, such as deep irrigation or zero tillage approach, So our production method needs to be standardized into an easy to replicate package others can follow. And then, like I said earlier, invest in local infrastructure. Investing in local infrastructure is not something that a smallholder farmer can go into. So it can entail solar cold storage. Last week we were told about zero energy cooling chamber and all those kind of storage facilities. Some can be you can come together as a group and then have a ZECC, the zero energy cooling chamber, where all the farmers have a place where the stuff is constructed, and then each farmer can say, I bring my produce Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, another set to come Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and both we run the facility together. Then, like we said earlier, engage in local cooperatives. You can work through existing farmer groups, or then get your own producer group. And then once you are together as a group, you can get climate focused grants and achieve your enterprise. And let's go right to our action plan. Our action plan now, like Amaka's action plan, we'll see later. I call this the 6C model: climate and risk, customer, choice, cost, cash, and control. The climate and risk as well as choice. You said it earlier, we should identify the risk, the climate risk in our area, and then note the practices that we can use to manage them, and therefore then decide what to grow based on the market gaps. After the market identification that we have done, what do we find out? Then we can choose, this is what I want to grow based on the prevailing climate, the prevailing climate in the area. Another thing, customer and cost. Define exactly who we buy, who are our customers that are willing to buy from us. And then we need to map out and start up how the production cost will look like. Have a breakdown of production. What do we need from land clearing to the farmers, the customer's table? And then cash and control. Now we calculate expected sales, the returns from the production process, and as well as profit. And then we can define risk management strategies. In case this happens, what do we do to reduce the risk? Any risk, climate risk, market risk, financial risk, how would I offer solutions to them? Those should be in our action plan. So let's look at Amaka's next 3 actions. The next slide, please. Yes, so Amaka's next 3 actions are 3 key actions Amaka wants to do next. Is 1, to confirm the weekly quantity each restaurant buyer wants. Number 2, to buy mulch and set up drip lines before the next planting. Number 3, open a simple notebook to record every cost and sale from planting through to her first delivery. Like I said earlier, the record is from plan to actualization, farmer's table. So like from that, we can see that all we talked about is what Amaka now wants to do. Amaka has to determine what the customer wants. She already has, she knows the climate risk in her area. She knows what the customer wants. She knows what to do to help her as practical solutions to adapt and to mitigate those climate risks. And then she has a simple notebook to record every cost and sale. Once she records every cost and sale, she can know whether she's making profit or not in her farming business. Thank you very much for your time. Hello. Hello. So I want to appreciate each and
Thank
every
you
one of
so
you
much.
saying bye
Thank
to
you
this.
so much, Ma, for the
Thank you.
class. It was insightful. Thank you.
So
I know network tried a lot, but guys, this is time to ask your questions. This is time to share your comments. This is time to do all of that. So please unmute your mic and ask every question that you want to ask. Anyone wants to ask question, even if it's comments on what she has said. Mm, Just unmute your mic and then go ahead. Do I have to call names? Can anyone hear me? I hope I'm not speaking to myself. Can anyone hear me?
yes.
Yes, I can hear.
Yeah, so share your comments, share your feedback, ask your questions. This is the time.
Body shape is one women struggle with emotionally, but styling wise, it is absolutely
So we are waiting, we are waiting. Okay, Anna, do you want to speak? Your mic has been on or something. Also, the link to the post assessment form is in the group chat already and in the comments already, so please ensure you fill it. So any question for the last time, any comments, any feedback, anything you need out to maybe shed more light on or something? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, so if in case of that, let's unmute our mics and thank her for the very insightful class then, and then um thank you so much, Ma, for the insightful class, and then we can take our pictures and call it a day. I mean, so I can't hear anyone now.
Thank you, Ma, for the class. Very insightful.
So much, ma'am, for this wonderful lectures. We appreciate.
So also put on your video, everyone. It's time to take our photo. Ensure you put on your video. As you are saying thank you, put on your video. Amida, Priscilla, Beryl. Please still keep it on. Let's take the photo. Thank you so much, everyone. We've done that. Thank you for joining today's class. And share if the post assessment form is being shared in the recording. And thank you so much, Dr. Ife, for the insightful class today. We will also share the slides with everyone so that you can have access to what she said, and then you can do the activities too on your own. Don't forget that as you join these classes, be filling your learning journey document. It is very important. It is one of the requirements for getting a certificate at the end of the program. It is a requirement for being considered for the mini grant, which we are going to be giving people who are eligible and qualified to pitch their businesses or their business ideas at the end of the day. And also do the group tasks. Be active in your groups. Ensure you do the group tasks, and because we have prizes for the best three groups at the end of that group activity, and we would also be recognizing individual contributors who really put their weight in the group, subject to nomination by group members. And that is something that is also very useful for you as well. So please ensure you do all of these activities. Our community managers are there. You need anything, just message your community manager. They will put you through, they will handle your answer. And group leaders, please be a leader. Your group members, make them feel comfortable. inspire them, work with them, and deliver something huge. Like let your group stand out in this first cohort of She Grows Wing. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, ma'am.
Yeah, I think the giveaway should also hold later this evening. I'll check in with Madina, so don't you don't want to miss that as well. If so